Hey, how are you doing, everybody? Welcome back into the SFS channel after what has been a wild slate of Sunday NFL action here for Week 14. In this episode, however, I'll be diving into some early Week 15 waiver wire candidates for likely your first week of fantasy football playoff action for the 2022 season. So, as always, if you guys are new around here, drop down, smash that subscribe button, turn the bell on as well, so you're never late for a new piece of content. We've got 8 early names here for this Week 15 waiver wire opportunity, so make sure to get locked in here and prepare for this crucial and pivotal upcoming week worth of games. So, with that being said, let's dive right on in. All right, before we dive into Chuba Hubbard here, I do want to toss out one honorable mention for this week. So Donovan Peoples-Jones of the Cleveland Browns is rostered in 58% of Yahoo Fantasy Leagues right now. That is the platform that I use for that metric here on the channel. I find that it's the most accurate and most representative of what leagues should be here. At times, ESPN's numbers of rostership can be a little bit skewed. So anyways, tossing that 58% number your way, I try to stay below 50% for the names in this episode. I did want to mention him, though. He went over 100 yards. Deshaun Watson looked a little bit better this week. A little bit more comfortable, a little bit more settled in. They still only scored, what was it, 10 points in a 23-10 loss, I want to say. But Deshaun was able to push the ball downfield and have some success in that facet. So Chuba Hubbard is definitely my priority ad of the week today on Sunday evening as I record this episode. This is coming your way Monday morning. Chuba Hubbard, for me, surprisingly, has really started to take back the actual reins of this backfield in terms of being the most productive back. And while he did have 7 fewer carries than Deontay Foreman, he was just as productive. So he was more efficient. They had, I believe it was 74 yards rushing each. It was 21 carries, I want to say, for Foreman. It was 14 for Chuba Hubbard. Now, Chuba did have 17 total touches, 99 total yards, and a rushing touchdown. And that efficiency, that usage, and overall just kind of the snap count percentage distribution showing some positive signs Chuba Hubbard's way could indicate that as early as this week 15 matchup against Pittsburgh, he could see himself potentially be that lead back the rest of the way. Now, where we've seen Deontay Foreman really progress in this offense in weeks past has been his goal line opportunities and his rushes inside the 5-yard line. We saw some Blackshear this week. We saw Chuba Hubbard getting his opportunities in that area of the field. It was really divvied up and even. So it's not necessarily a situation that I think is monopolized by Foreman anymore, therefore opening the door for some Hubbard success down the stretch of this season. Zamir White here. This is an injury-based addition here. This may materialize into nothing. Zamir White is strictly a handcuff for Josh Jacobs, one of fantasy's best running backs today. This is a tough playoff schedule, so if Zamir does get the opportunity to be a starting running back for a couple of weeks here, or even just 1 week, and like I said, there is a very probable chance that he doesn't get this opportunity regardless here, but he does have a Patriots, Steelers, and 49ers 3-week stretch upcoming here for the fantasy football postseason. But let's talk through some positives here, why you might want to add Zamir White. Josh Jacobs suffered a finger issue. It was on his hand. He was holding it throughout that Thursday night contest. You could see the agony, the discomfort, the tenderness of his hand throughout that contest. And if the opportunity should present itself with the Raiders' playoff hopes on a lifeline right now, and the fact that Jacobs is a little bit banged up, if they decrease his snap count percentage or something, again, I'm not projecting that this stuff is going to happen, but it's a possibility. Maybe you're the Jacobs owner, and as an insurance policy, you want to go out here and make this acquisition. Things to think through and process here. Again, as you could see, his opportunity share reduced a little bit to try and keep his load a bit lighter here, whatever the case might be. So White's a physical runner. Obviously, he's not a veteran. He's not nearly as polished as Josh Jacobs. He was a 4th-round pick of the Raiders this offseason in the NFL draft. So the team has obviously just freshly acquired him as of this past offseason. So Zamir White, some things to like here. He is not going to be the primary pass-catching back, though I expect Amir Abdullah to do that, again, should there be a lack or absence of Josh Jacobs in the coming weeks here. Rex Burkhead at 3% rostership here, another potential injury situation to pounce on. Now, this is a very bad Houston Texans team, but we did see them capitalize on opportunities against Dallas's rushing defense here. That's really the way that you can attack can exploit that Dallas defense. You do not want to drop back your quarterback and allow them to rush the passer with Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and all of those other interior defensive linemen that can get after the quarterback and put pressure on your QB. So the way to best attack this team, of course, as I said, is to run the football. Now, Rex Burkhead is kind of a utility back. He's multifaceted. He can catch the football out of the backfield. He also saw some goal line opportunities in this week's matchup with Dameon Pierce exiting the contest late in the fourth quarter with an ankle injury. So again, an opportunity for a lower end. He might not even be in the RB2 conversation. As a matter of fact, I'll say he isn't. He's probably a flex play, but should you need a running back and are in dire straits for one here in the early round of your fantasy playoff matchups, if Pierce were to miss time, he could obviously in PPR formats fulfill that need. Into the wide receiver position group now, starting out with DJ Chark at 40% rostership. I apologize, DJ Chark. I did not put enough respect on your name the last few weeks here. He's been balling out 3 straight weeks in a row here of fantasy football lineup-worthy production, flex-level productivity from DJ Chark here. He's a big playmaker, and this Lions offense has been absolutely motoring that football down the football field, crushing it, dominating opposing defenses. Now, their defense hasn't always closed games for them. They did this week against Minnesota, but man, DJ Chark has been making plays downfield, scoring touchdowns in 2 of his last 3 games. This can be a flex-level player in deeper formats with the current production rate of this Detroit football team offense that's getting healthier. Jameson Williams, another name at 36% rostership, and the wide receiver room that could potentially warrant rostership here. Jameson Williams is not playing a high number of snaps here in this offense. He was clearly on the sideline for a large portion of this game, but lo and behold, comes in, makes his first NFL catch. It's a 41-yard touchdown, takes the top off the defense. Now, it was a blown coverage. It was a blown coverage assignment. He didn't fry anybody. He didn't absolutely, moss someone or anything crazy like that. They simply just let him run past them, but that's fine. As he makes big plays here, proves himself in this offense, he's going to see his role expand, and it's an extremely risky flex play here going forward, but the ceiling is very high considering the damage that he can do in a single reception here. So if you want to bet on this long-term upside here, again, long-term meaning the next 3 to 4 weeks potentially, depending on your fantasy football scheduling here, but it's worth considering should you need someone to fill in somewhat of a pinch. Elijah Moore at 27% with Mike White at the helm. He has been a much different player than he was with Zach Wilson. At one point in the season, Elijah Moore was asked about his chemistry with Zach Wilson, and he said, "What chemistry?" Now with Mike White, things look a little bit better. Now, I do have some updated injury information on Mike White. He was sent to the hospital after getting absolutely clobbered on multiple occasions. Tip of the hat to Mike White for toughing it out and girding through that game. He is definitely one of the more fun players to watch, and one of the more, it's hard not to cheer for the guy when he's on the field. I really like watching him play, but again, tip of the cap to him for that absolute showing of toughness here. He went out there, and basically since week 12, he has scored a touchdown in week 12. Week 13 and 14, he's got 8 targets per game, 16 total here. Again, he's been a different player. He's got a juicy matchup against a struggling Detroit secondary that has especially struggled against slot receivers here, which Elijah Moore, he's not necessarily a slot receiver, but he has a lot of opportunity to run good routes out of that slot position, and he fits into that spot well in this offense when Braxton Berrios isn't in there. So a lot of things to like here. Again, could be a solid quality flex level streamer in 12+ man formats for this upcoming week. Again, 27% rostership. For the quarterback stream of the week here, it is Mike White. Now, there's a chance he doesn't play, 20% rostership. As I said, he went to the hospital after having his absolute beatdown against Buffalo. He was able to since rejoin his team, though. And this is a player with a really solid fantasy floor. They're whipping the ball around the field. As I outlined, that Detroit defense is very susceptible to opposing passing attacks. Mike White can distribute the ball to Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, Conklin, running backs, whoever it might be, Corey Davis, if he's healthy now they're playing, Braxton Berrios, you've got Denzel Mims getting snaps out there. He is very capable of making his playmakers get in spots and positions to win their matchups. So Mike White, if you're in a spot where you need a quarterback here, not a bad option to stream. And then for our defensive stream of the week here, I like the Green Bay Packers. They have the Los Angeles Rams this week. Yes, Baker Mayfield led his team 98 yards down the field in, a minute 14, no timeout, something like that. But it was very impressive. He got the job done. He scored just 17 points, though. I'm expecting regression from this team. It's still an incredibly undermanned unit and a team that needs a lot more work in order to be, extremely productive here. I think that this Packers team coming off of a bye week and rest has the potential to make a large impact on the fantasy scoring sheet just based off of sacks, pressures, turnovers, interceptions. Again, I believe Baker Mayfield threw 4 interceptions as a Cleveland Brown in 2021. When playing this Packers defense. Now, they do have some injuries here, but again, coming off bye with added rest and hopefully getting a bit healthier here, this team should be able to capitalize on the opportunity in this week's 15 matchup. So, as always, if you guys enjoyed, smash that like button, turn the bell on so you're never late for a new piece of content. We've also got our top 10 takeaways from Week 14 Fantasy Football. Check that out. It's live on the channel now, so make sure you don't miss that, and I will see you there. Peace out.